Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are wrestling with something really fundamental, maybe the most frustrating human challenge.
You mean how we talk to each other?
Exactly. And why so much of what we mean just gets lost, you know? We spend a lot of time with sources digging into, well, the nuts and bolts of human interaction, interpersonal communication, and specifically all the things that constantly trip us up, that scramble the message we're trying to send. So our mission for you, listening right now, is basically a fast track. We want you to understand the fundamental barriers, the things that distort messages every single day.
And not just understand them, right?
More importantly, the practical, actionable steps you can actually take to overcome them. The goal is you walk away from this deep dive, well, better at your next conversation.
Okay, so we had to start with the foundation. What is interpersonal communication? At its core, it's the process, sending and receiving messages.
Verbal, nonverbal.
Yeah, between two or more people. But the crucial element, the sources really emphasize this, it involves this exchange of simultaneous and mutual messages.
Simultaneous and mutual.
Okay, it's not just you talking at someone. You're actively sharing and negotiating meaning together in real time.
So it's a dynamic co-creation.
Exactly.
Okay, let's unpack that a bit. Because if it's simultaneous and mutual, wow, that means every time you open your mouth, you've just created way more places for things to go wrong.
That's a good way to put it, yeah.
Our sources seem to group these failure points into three main categories. Three big flaws, let's say. There are the obvious distractions, what they call external noise. Then the internal stuff we often ignore.
Right, the internal noise.
And this massive subconscious lens they call the filter of lifetime experiences.
Precisely. Let's start with noise, though, because that's kind of the umbrella term. It covers anything causing distortion or interruptions, basically anything that makes message delivery or understanding poor.
And it's not just loud noises.
Definitely not. It goes way beyond just a room being too loud.
Okay. So the source points to four distinct faces of noise. Let's start with the physical ones. First up, physical noise.
Right.
This is the external stuff. Environmental interference, making it hard to hear or receive the message. You know, like trying to talk next to a jackhammer?
Yeah, impossible.
Or a train roaring past, blocking out the voice. Or even just wind hitting a microphone really hard, the physical world getting in the way.
Makes sense. Then the second type moves the interference inside you, physiological noise.
Okay.
This is disruption because of internal biological factors, things happening in your body.
Like what?
Well, physical discomfort, maybe you have a headache, or a biological condition, or even a sensory impairment like hearing loss, something that hinders your ability to send or receive messages well.
Wait a second. So, being hangry, is that actually a communication barrier?
It absolutely is, seriously. Because that biological discomfort, low blood sugar, or maybe you're trying to focus but you've got a blinding migraine, it fundamentally affects your cognitive ability. You can't decode or articulate the message properly. You are literally physically less able to concentrate on that shared meaning.
Wow. Okay. So, physical noise is the outside world messing things up. Physiological noise is your body scrambling the signal.
Right.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting for me, the psychological side of noise. Because this is where, the intent and the meaning really start to break down.
Yeah, this is crucial.
First, there's psychological noise. This is just pure internal static, interference from your own attitudes, your ideas, the emotions you're feeling during the interaction. If you walk into a meeting already convinced the speaker is wrong, that conviction, that attitude, that's psychological noise blocking you from really hearing them.
Exactly. And that leads right into what might be the most, insidious form. Semantic noise.
Semantic, meaning related to words.
Precisely. This happens when communicators apply fundamentally different meanings to the exact same words or phrases. You could both be speaking perfect English. But if one person says aggressive, meaning assertive and proactive, and the other hears aggressive as hostile and attacking, boom, semantic failure.
Oh, I see that all the time. That mismatch of internal dictionaries can be explosive.
It really can.
You ask someone to do something in a timely manner. For you, that means end of day.
Right.
For them, it means sometime next week. And then you argue about the missed deadline, but you never even realized you were working off two totally different clocks.
That semantic element is so critical. And the source points out, semantic noise can be the most difficult type to overcome. Why?
Why?
Because strong, pre-existing emotions often get attached to those specific words or phrases.
Yeah.
We jump to assuming bad intent or maybe incompetence, when really it might just be A simple, honest mismatch of definitions that nobody clarified. Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How often are we arguing over the interpretation of a word like respect or collaboration instead of the actual facts or the real intent behind what's being said? It's just this huge, invisible barrier to negotiating meaning.
Wow. That realization feels incredibly humbling, actually. Especially going into a tough conversation. It forces you to admit clarity isn't just your problem to solve.
It's a shared responsibility. Absolutely.
Okay, so let's shift gears a bit. We've got these 4 types of noise. Now, let's talk about the third major barrier identified in the source. This one isn't just an interruption. It's like a fundamental filter. The filter of lifetime experiences.
Yes. And this filter basically supercharges all the types of noise we just talked about.
How would you define that filter exactly?
Well, think of it as the sum total. An accumulation of your entire life's worth of knowledge, your values, your expectations, all your attitudes, all based on every single prior personal experience you've ever had.
So, my personal history.
Essentially, yes. It's the sum of your existence shaping how you see the present moment, creating this unique perceptual fingerprint that's only yours. And the mechanism here is profound. Those past experiences, they actively shape how you perceive and interpret incoming information right now.
So, like, an example.
Okay, imagine you had a really terrible boss, and they always use the phrase, let's touch base, right before firing someone.
Oh, okay, yeah.
For you, that phrase is now forever encoded in your filter with anxiety, with dread.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who says it next or in what context, your filter flags it.
Wow.
And that leads directly to decoding problems. Because you're working from fundamentally different knowledge bases, different values, different life experiences than the person talking to you.
You're not just hearing the words.
No. You're decoding them against a lifetime of personal context that the other person doesn't share. And often, you don't even realize you're doing it. It's subconscious.
So if the filter is the sum of my life, does that mean true neutrality in communication is like actually impossible? Because my context is always coloring your words. We're never really starting from the same place.
Well, objectivity is certainly something to strive for, maybe. But the source suggests mutual understanding is a more realistic and probably better target than pure neutrality. Just acknowledging the filter exists in you and in them, that's the first massive step. It helps you mitigate its disruptive power. You have to account for the fact that your shared reality is only ever partially shared.
Right, like generational differences.
Exactly. Think about that. A younger colleague's filter might interpret casual attire completely differently than a manager who grew up when casual meant, I don't know, khakis and a polo shirt, nothing less.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. So we've got the 4 faces of noise: physical, physiological, semantic, psychological, plus this massive, deeply personal filter of life experience. Honestly, it feels like a miracle we communicate clearly at all sometimes.
It can feel that way.
All right, so now that we understand what keeps breaking communication down, let's pivot. Let's look at the prescriptive advice. What does the source say we can do to improve things? This is the action plan part.
And the very first step, interestingly, it's about humility. It's about setting expectations.
Okay. Strategy 1. Realize communication is imperfect. You have to just accept right up front that all communication, whether it's verbal, nonverbal, written, often has flaws.
Misunderstandings happen.
Right. Or incomplete transmission of what you actually meant. If you go into a critical discussion expecting perfect, crystal clear understanding from the get-go,
You're setting yourself up for frustration.
Exactly. Because noise will inevitably intrude. You have to expect it.
Okay, so building on that realization, the next strategy is about being more intentional. Designing your delivery to minimize the chances of the message getting corrupted.
Which is strategy 2. Adapt the message to the receiver.
Yes. And this is more than just being polite. It means really thinking about your audience, matching their preferences, their needs, using language that's clear, concise, accessible to them.
So avoiding jargon that only makes sense through my filter.
Exactly. And it also means adapting your channel. The source specifically mentions this. Choosing the right tool for the job.
Like email versus face-to-face versus IM.
Right. Depending on the recipient and how complex or sensitive the message is, you wouldn't handle a really critical, maybe emotionally charged disciplinary issue via Slack, would you?
Definitely not. No way.
Because that channel just strips away all the nonverbal context you need to negotiate that kind of sensitive meaning.
Yeah.
You need that face-to-face element to help manage the potential for, say, psychological or semantic noise blowing up.
That's a really key distinction. Choose your channel wisely.
Spot on. Okay, now we move to some foundational skill building, things that directly combat noise. Strategy 3, improve language and listening skills.
Okay, this sounds practical.
It is. This is where the rubber meets the road. The source highlights 2 specific, really actionable listening techniques, things you can deploy immediately to help ensure those mutual messages get negotiated successfully.
All right, what's the first one?
The first is mainly about making the sender feel heard. Things like maintaining good eye contact, using those small nonverbal cues, like nodding, to show you're engaged, you're tracking with them.
So that reduces their potential psychological noise, like doubt or anxiety about being understood.
Exactly. It tells them the signal is being received clearly, or at least that you're trying.
Okay. And the second technique?
This one is maybe the most powerful tool against semantic noise, that word meaning mismatch. It's actively paraphrasing or summarizing the speaker's message.
Right after they say it.
Ideally, yes, or at a natural pause. To ensure you've got accurate comprehension, you sort of interrupt yourself, not them, and say something like,
okay, let me make sure I understand. What I'm hearing you say is X, Y, and Z. Is that right?
Perfect. That one simple act forces you both to check for clarity. It can prevent hours of arguments based purely on misinterpretation.
And it makes the speaker correct your decoding right then and there before the conversation runs away based on a wrong assumption. That's essential.
Absolutely.
Okay. Now, strategies 4 and 5 seem to tackle the really deep stuff, those psychological barriers, the filter itself.
They do. Strategy 4, question your preconceptions or assumptions. This one's tough. It requires metacognition, thinking about your own thinking.
How so?
It means you have to critically examine, maybe challenge, your own existing beliefs, your opinions, those automatic assumptions you make about the topic or the person or the situation, before you just accept them as truth.
So pause before reacting.
Yes. This is how you start to mitigate the subconscious power of that deep filter of lifetime experience. You have to pause and ask yourself, wait, am I reacting to this person right now? Or am I actually reacting to my memory of my last boss who used a similar phrase?
Wow. That's an incredibly sophisticated internal move. Recognizing your immediate gut reaction might be filter-driven, not reality-driven.
It takes practice, for sure. And finally, strategy 5, encourage feedback. This is about closing the communication loop completely.
Making it safe for people to respond honestly.
Exactly. Creating an environment where people feel comfortable, feel safe enough to give their opinions, their thoughts, even constructive criticism about the message they received from you.
Because if they don't feel safe saying, hey, I don't actually understand that word, or whoa, I interpret that request really differently,
then the communication loop is broken. You walk away thinking you succeeded, but you didn't. You had a communication failure and didn't even know it.
What a phenomenal blueprint. Seriously useful stuff. Okay, so for you, our listener, let's try to wrap this up. Key takeaways. Communication is mutual, it's simultaneous. The barriers, they come in those 4 types of noise: physical, physiological, semantic, psychological, plus that incredibly powerful filter of lifetime experience.
Forget the filter.
Never forget the filter. And then these 5 key actions: realizing it's imperfect, adapting your style and channel, active listening, especially that paraphrasing,
Crucial.
questioning your own assumptions, and actively encouraging feedback. These can dramatically improve how effective you are in any interaction, really, personal, professional, all of it.
And maybe if we connect this all back, just one final thought. Think about how common that semantic noise is, the word meaning problem, and how easily psychological noise, strong emotions can get triggered.
Right.
Now consider that strategy of questioning your assumptions combined with the simple technique of paraphrasing someone's message, just making sure you truly understood their intended meaning for the words they chose.
Yeah.
How often might that simple act, forcing clarity before reacting, prevent us from firing up our own emotional, psychological noise unnecessarily? How many pointless arguments could that avoid just by checking the meaning first?
That is definitely something to mull over next time you're talking to someone. Go try these insights out, see if the signal doesn't get a little clearer for you. Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive.